Hello world, welcome back. This is Tobias the Traveler, and the journey continues. I wanted to talk about something that's very important, which is, your transportation on the islands here in Thailand, and specifically riding a bike, renting a bike, all that kind of stuff, because when you're on the islands, you do need to be able to get to A to B, back to A, right? A being your accommodation, B being your destination, and then get on back, like stated. And there's just some things I really wanted to point out that people may not be aware of, but we're going to talk about it. There's quite a few, so stay tuned. This might be a multi-part series. I'm not sure just yet. But let's first talk about, renting a bike or a scooter. So you can rent a bike, like you can rent a motorcycle. You can actually rent a bicycle. You can rent a scooter, like a Vespa type deal if you wanted to. There are many places on the island, especially on Koh Samui, that will rent them to you just for, for the day, the week, the month. It's up to you. There's so many options available. You don't need a driver's license either. You don't need some international driver's license. People will say, oh, you need a driver's license. No, you don't. You just need to show up with that paper, right? With your dollars, your euros, your yen, whatever your currency is, right? The Swedish kroners, whatever you got. You just show up, talk to the folks. Hey, you know what? I'm looking to rent a bike for a month. Okay. Now, the longer you rent, the cheaper, the bike will get. Some places will be like, they want 300 baht a day, which is expensive. That's the equivalent to about $9 a day. Hell no. No. Again, depending on how long you're staying, you can really get a deal. So like the bike I have, I paid 4,000 baht up front for 1 month. That is the equivalent to $120. Now, if you think about that, in the United States, where I come from, you might rent a car for $120 a day. So you get to rent a bike for the month for $120. And then when you need to fill up the gas tank or the fuel tank, it's going to cost you about 100 baht, 120 baht, depending on the size, of the bike itself. So, you can really save some money. But then, again, do you really need a bike or a scooter? I'm going to say yes. And I say you need one because everything is kind of spread out unless you're living, say like on the island of Koh Samui. If you're living in Chao Wang, everything is like, boom, that's party central. You can pretty much walk everywhere. But then that gets boring. Now, there are alternatives, right? You don't have to take a bike. You don't have to rent one. There are, truck taxis, and you're going to see them out there. Taxi, or even other Thai bike taxi drivers. They'll ask you all day long. And if you're out partying or something like that, I don't advise that you take a bike if you've been drinking, right? If you got one, you're like, okay, I can make it back. No, don't do that. Just go ahead and, jump on a taxi truck, a truck taxi, get a, bike taxi, get back to your accommodation safely. Now, to rent it, right? Really easy to rent it. You just need your money. That's it. Along with, a copy of your passport. Now that's on Koh Samui. Some places, right, some islands actually want to hold your passport. Nah, don't do that. I don't advise you, nah. If you lose your passport, okay, that's you. If somebody else loses your passport, that's highly irresponsible. So you can a lot of times get away with not giving them your passport, but they'll want a larger deposit. So, that one's pretty much up to you. Or, hey, just make a copy of it. And if they want, like in Koh Samui, I paid a 2,000 baht deposit, which is a little bit less than $60 for the deposit. I get that money back when I turn the bike in. Cool, right? Or, say if you get into an accident or something, because accidents are extremely common, that money will go towards fixing the bike, and then you might have some out-of-pocket expense, right? But that's just what it is. Now, before you can take the bike, I would say, you know, you want to inspect the bike. Look at it to see if there's any prior damage. Take pictures of it. Make notes, something like that, because, you know, not saying they're gonna try to scam you. I haven't heard of any, you know, one getting scammed on bikes like they do with jet skis, but it's just nice to, you know, point all that stuff out up front, just like when you rent a car from Hertz or Enterprise, you know, wherever you live, whatever the name of that car rental agency is. You know, you do the walk around, like, oh, hey, you know, there might be a ding here and a ding there. It's the exact same thing. Inspect the mirrors. Does the bike even have mirrors? The first bike I rented this time, it didn't even have no damn mirrors. Excuse me. It did not have mirrors. Now the guy was kind enough, you know, he put like, you know, some mirrors on the handles of the bike, kind of like, you know, like a little girl will have like tassels on her handles. Well, he put a couple of little mirrors on there, and things just fell off. That wasn't. I remember I was riding, one fell off, and a car was behind me and just ran the motherfucker over. And it was gone. I'm like, oh, okay. So I took the bike back to him and told him, hey, you know what? I needed another bike. This one, I need a bike with some mirrors. And got all that squared away. They're usually very, very good with, you know, just replacing a bike for you free of charge, right? You're not going to get hit with any fees because, man, those bikes get a lot of wear and tear on them. Make sure, you know, your indicators, right? Your blinkers are working, you know, so, you know, when you need to go left or right, you're indicating, hey, so people can see you. Very, very important. Also, you know, I would say when you get the bike, turn it on and look at the screen, the dash of it, and make sure it's not like flashing. Make sure the lights aren't flashing either, because that can be a sign of electrical issues. And no one wants a vehicle that isn't theirs with electrical issues. Nope. Next, I'm gonna say, get a damn helmet. Make sure you get a helmet. All bikes come with them. They're usually in the trunk of the bike, right? So, you know, you can pop the trunk of the bike, which is, you know, under the seat, and that's where the helmet will be. Now, if you have a big head like I do, you might have to purchase a larger helmet. I had to purchase a helmet, and it cost me about 1,000 baht, which is a little less than 30 bucks. Okay, who cares? My noggin is protected. Very, very important, right? To have that protection. Other folks don't wear helmets. You'll see other foreigners run around here acting like, oh, I don't care. Me and my girl, we in the back of the bike looking like Tom Cruise and what's her name from Top Gun, and, you know, music is playing. Nah, dog, there's some crazy people driving out here, and accidents happen all day, every day out here. You want to be wearing your helmet. Along with, the police have checkpoints set up periodically, and they don't tell you where they are, right? They have checkpoints set up, and the checkpoint will be for people who are not wearing a helmet. They don't pull you over. You can get pulled over. You're going to catch a fine. Now, granted, it's only 500 baht, 600 baht, and that's not a lot of money, but it's just a hassle. So, wear your helmet. It's for your protection. And, you know, they have different kinds of helmets. They have ones with, you know, they have a face shield. They have the others that don't have a face shield. Mine has a shield on it, and you don't have to clean it periodically, but I like to wear it or wear it down for a good reason. There's dirt, debris, dust, bugs. I mean, when you're riding, you'll quickly find out that you're going to hit stuff, or stuff is going to hit you when you're riding. And just having that face shield, I mean, I've had bugs hit the face shield, it's splat, just like your windshield in your car, splat, same thing. Now, what if you weren't wearing a helmet, or, you know, you ride, you got your mouth open, and here comes some nasty ass bug, hits you in the back of the throat. Oh, yeah, we don't even want to go there. So it is what it is. And me, I've had 2 bike accidents, actually. I had one in 2007 in Phuket, and I had another bike accident in 2018. So neither one of them, you know, thankfully were caused me any really bad injuries, like at all. I have no bruises, no road rash, none of that. But I do have two bike accidents, and they happened. Like I said, the first one, I ran into a guardrail, not knowing how to make a U-turn properly. That's something you better do. Learn how to ride a bike. We'll talk about that later. And I also got T-boned one time. Now that I think about it, trying to make a U-turn from the wrong lane. So, knowing the rules of the road here, very, very important. And let's go ahead and touch on, learning to ride. Some people have never ridden a scooter or a motorcycle, right? Like that, you never have. A lot of folks, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're here, you try to jump into the deep end, right? It's like you don't know how to swim, but you're jumping into the deep end of the pool. You got to figure it out. I say if you're going to rent a bike, pick it up early or have it delivered to you early, and then practice riding the bike on like some back roads. Someplace there's many back roads that you can practice your driving on here. So learn to make right-hand turns, learn to make left-hand turns, learn to make U-turns effectively so you don't actually hurt anyone else or yourself for that matter. Because, when you get out there in that traffic, it can be scary. And, here in Thailand, people drive, on the opposite side of the road for most of the world. Like, so I'm from the United States, we go in one direction, we drive it on the opposite side. Only places I can think of that drive on the same side of the street as Thailand would be, a lot of Asian countries, the UK, Australia is that way. I think New Zealand is also. But for the most part, like almost all of Europe, it's just like driving in the United States, no issues. Everything is reversed. So you have to retrain your brain if you're not accustomed to driving on the opposite side of the road. And say if you want to make a U-turn, here in Thailand, there really isn't a turning lane, right? Just a right-hand turn in general. Excuse me. If you're on the right-hand side, say you want to make a right-hand turn or make a U-turn, there isn't a turning lane here on the island or any of the islands. So you'd have to come to you know where you're going. You want to make that right hand turn. You see that side street coming up. You turn your indicator on, your blinker on. Hey, I'm going right. But you pull into that yellow lane, and you're going to be holding up. You're just that centerpiece, right? That a lot of times in the United States we have that double yellow line. You're not supposed to break it or cross over into it like that. Well, you'd pull into that solid yellow line, and that's where you would turn from, right? You slow down before you got there, obviously. Got your indicator on so people can see that you're going to be making that right-hand turn or U-turn, and then you make that turn from there. Don't ever try to make a U-turn from the shoulder, right? That might cause a problem because that shoulder is actually a lane, which, a lot of foreigners may not know this. And, if you're trying to make that U-turn again, you just might get T-boned like I did one time. So it is a thing, learning to the rules of the road, very, very important. You can pick that stuff up pretty easily. It's not too difficult at all. So, and you know what? It's fun. Plus, it's smart to know how things go. Don't be that guy, right? Do not, or woman, don't be that person, because they gonna be looking at you crazy, like, what the hell is this person doing? Next thing I want to say, right, is you want to learn the roads. And what I mean by that is when you're driving, you want to be looking at the road itself, right? Because there's probably going to be speed bumps, there's going to be potholes, there's going to be uneven pavement. And just like where those things are in your home country, if you're driving a car, because you don't want to hit them, same thing here. The infrastructure, right, is pretty good. I gotta say that it has improved vastly, but you still will run into some uneven patches of pavements. or maybe there's water all the time in some place, or there's sand. And if you're on a bike, water and sand are your enemy. You do not want to accelerate in the water. You definitely do not want to accelerate. If you hit a patch of sand, you gonna fall, and fall hard. Don't do no dumb shit like that. Right? It's just what it is. Some people may not believe me, but you go ahead and figure it out. You want to figure it out the hard way? Be my guest. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm just going, I'm just sharing some knowledge about the roads. Other motorists also. These are some dummies. There's a lot of foreigners out there who think, again, they think they locals riding without their helmets. Now, many Thais don't ride with helmets because they've been riding these bikes for many, 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 many years. That's what they do. Cool. But other foreigners, they just out here just, speed demon, trying to fly by you, thinking like, oh, I got this bike. Oh, I'm like, all right, cool. You got that bike, but I'm gonna see you on the floor bleeding. That ain't gonna be it, homie. You might want to slow down just a little bit. And one thing you'll see people doing is sometimes they're trying to pass you on the left-hand side, which is wrong. You should always be passing on the right-hand side of somebody. So like us who come from, a Western country, we typically would pass on the left, right? Because that's actually for the United States, that's the fast lane. You to go to the DMV. If you pass somebody on the, you take your driving test, you pass on that right-hand side of somebody, you're going to fail. You're going faster than them. That right-hand lane is a slow lane. Well, it's the opposite. So you should be passing on the right-hand side. But dummies be trying to pass on the left-hand side sometimes now. When this is okay is when there's a lot of traffic and you'll see bikes on that shoulder passing cars, right? But they're not speeding by. There's traffic. It might be bumper to bumper. It might be somebody, again, needing to make a right-hand turn and they're holding up traffic a bit, but that shoulder lane is open. So, bikes are they're just doing their thing, not flying by, but using that lane, that shoulder lane, to just get to where they got to go. That's when passing on the left is a thing. That's when it's always cool. And another thing is, you may think about it already, but check your mirrors. Always, consistently check your mirrors, because people be coming up out of nowhere. Vroom, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Right? Just like at home. If this is not your home, or maybe it is your home, like me, but you move here, people be smashing by you, right? I mean, smashing hard and fast. And when they drive by you like that, it can start on you. Versus if you see him coming, okay, cool, somebody coming up behind me, great. If a car is driving parallel to you, don't freak out, right? Don't freak out. That's another thing. I've seen, actually one of my buddies, he's going through it right now. Car pull up parallel to him while, he's riding. And it kind of jars him a little bit, because you don't have the same protection as you do when you are, in your vehicle back home. I'm pushing, BMW 5 Series. Okay, cool. Somebody driving next to me. All right, you're protected. Great. It's normal. But when you're on a bike, it is a different thing. And if you're new here, you're trying to find your way, or maybe you aren't new, but you're going someplace. Google Maps works pretty well. You will hit some areas where it's not as friendly as it should be. Like say if you're in the United States, it happens, but Google Maps is great. And having some wireless headphones, whether you got some AirPods or just a different brand, having some wireless headphones is a beautiful thing. So you can get those turn-by-turn directions in your ears. And they also actually have, the little attachment that, sometimes people have on their dashboards in their car, so they can actually see the turn-by-turn directions, like, Uber driver or Lyft driver will have. They actually have those available for bikes. And yeah, they can help you tremendously to find your way. Another thing I want to speak about, it's real simple, real easy, is keeping your valuables on you, right? While you're on your bike. Don't keep them in your pockets. Don't do that. You are going to drop shit. I guarantee it. You're gonna drop this shit. So I suggest getting a little sling bag or a backpack, or maybe you don't want to carry those. You can still put things in the trunk of the bike, under the seat, even your phone. Sometimes I'm gonna put my phone in the trunk of the bike, and when I'm riding, like I'm helmet on, I got my AirPods in, I can still get my directions when I need to. So don't keep things in your pockets. I've dropped a few things. I actually dropped an action camera and lost that mug. I was so mad, and but that's my fault. Live and learn. So I thought I would just go ahead and share that, with y'all. It's a thing. So, and at the very end, fellas, this is a week.
Tobias, traveler, traveling on the back of a motorbike, since I don't have mine here. Headed back to the house.
You don't want to be doing all that.
In Kopangan, light taxi, long ride. Fuck it.
Right, things go. That's sketchy. It's 5 o'clock.
Holding on to the bike with one hand and the camera with the other. Good old GoPro. Oh, she was kind of cute. Hola, Colombiana.
That isn't